I'm delighted to welcome Suzann McLean today as our guest. She's an actor, artistic director, educator, producer, many talents. And before we talk to her, let's see some of her work.
What's happening?
Jeff's kissed someone.
Oh my God!
And he was going to put his tongue in.
His tongue?
Love me, baby.
There you are. Oh.
Happy birthday.
The headmistress said that you subjected your class to bad language, calling them blood seed of Satan.
It's about focus. No distractions.
Enough.
You're better than this.
Let's go to the boardwalk. It's 2 for the price of 1.
Please, don't call on Dean again.
Wow, Suzann, that's fantastic. Tell us about some of the things we just saw. Many of them are recognisable shows. Tell us a few things. What did we just see?
The clip from Doctor Who, which was great, which was the time when Catherine Tate was in it. What else was in there? A film called Freestyle. Some stuff from Couplings, that was a sitcom that was on TV. Yeah, so lots of stuff, lots of different fun stuff.
It's great. It's really impressive. Thank you. Now, in the introduction, I suggest that you're more than an actor. You do many other things, clearly. But how would you describe yourself? What would you say your role? What role are you? And actually, what does that mean on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So on a day-to-day right now, I'm artistic director and CEO of Theatre Peckham, which is a 200-seat theatre in Southwark, in between Peckham and Camberwell. And then also I'm still acting as well, and I have a theatre school that I'm the founder of called Young and Talented, so that still goes on in the background as well.
So loads of things going on. Is there a typical day? What would a day in your work life be like? What might it be like?
So a typical day is never typical. There's lots of different things that happen day to day. A lot of the time it's about meeting people, making connections, speaking to stakeholders, which are people who are invested in Theatre Peckham as an organisation. So that could be the council, and it could also be down to the members or an audience member and things like that, or people, artists who want to put on work. So yeah, it's a mixture of all of that. And then I guess the main thing in terms of being a CEO of the company is about, I guess, using the analogy of steering the ship. It's being, part of that, leading what the vision of the organisation is and making sure that everyone is forming part of that vision.
Wow. So it sounds like you're busy and you do loads of interesting stuff. We'll come back to that, I'm sure. Can I take you back, if you don't mind, to sort of either schooling or after school or that sort of thing? Was there anything particularly inspired you, do you think, to want to work to be an actor or to work in theatre or creative industries? What was it like in your background?
Yeah, so, well, when I was young, we moved from London to Peterborough.
Okay.
And there was a time when I was in Peterborough where this theatre company came, which were called the Black Mime Theatre, and they don't actually exist anymore. And I remember going to see this show, and like I said, it was Black Mime Theatre, so everything was in mime. And there were people who looked like me acting, telling these stories that were really relatable to me. And for the first time, I realised what power theatre had and how I had such a strong connection to it, because it was just so wonderful seeing something that really related to me. Kind of, it felt like it was telling my story, and I felt really connected and engaged. So it then, kind of really changed the way I thought about performance, because before then I thought about people that I'd see on TV and it was all kind of quite fun, but I didn't realise that theatre could really impact somebody's life so much.
So did you take drama at school, A-level drama or theatre arts? Or what happened? What were your qualifications?
I went to a very academic school.
Okay.
And did my performing arts activity outside of school. So much so that, you know, when I remember getting to A-level stage and making a decision of whether to go to university. And I had a job at a restaurant, and a girl there that used to work there as well, she went to drama school in London. And so that was the first time that I realised that there was something called drama school.
Wow.
And that it was available, and that you could go there, and it's, you know, at that stage it was an alternative to going to university.
Many people watching this, I suspect, if you want to work in theatre, many schools and many parents, I think, are worried because it's precarious, and they say don't do it. And what were your family's thoughts when you said you maybe wanted to go to theatre, to drama school?
So in terms of my family, they were really supportive. My mum and dad were like, if it's really what you want to do, then we'll support you to go and do that. Interestingly, in terms of my school, they weren't as supportive because, and when I got my A-level results, I remember one of the teachers phoning me up saying, but Suzann, you could go to all of these different universities. Why are you gonna waste your life going to drama school?
That's really interesting. I think even now, I think it's easier, slightly easier, but creative industries, the breadth of creative industries is still a complicated thing for schools to cope with. We talk a lot about the iceberg principle, and acting is above the waterline, but there's so many jobs below the waterline. And it strikes me that your career now, you actually are also below the waterline in your job as CEO, in your job as educator, in your job as working and promoting those sort of things. So it's interesting that I think there's still nervousness about acting or performing being quite a precarious thing to do. But like many young people, it sounds like you wanted to do it and you stuck at it.
Yeah, it was. I think it wasn't actually a really tough decision. I remember going for a long walk one day and coming back and saying to my mum and dad, yeah, I am going to go to drama school. And they were like, yeah. I mean, the challenge then was finances. And back then we didn't have the internet and things like that. So I remember sitting in the library, and there was this big, massive book like this, that lists all the charities. And literally I waded through that book and wrote down ones that would support for the performing arts.
Wow. And
wrote off letters to people asking them if they would fund me to go to drama school.
And did you get support?
So at that point, I didn't get support, and my parents and family clubbed together and supported me for my first year.
Wow.
Then did the exact same process for the second and third year. By the third year, all of this money started flooding in. So I was probably the richest student who ever actually, you know, it just took that time, because as you can imagine, when you go and you audition, by the time you've got your result, to turn around the funding in order to get that, you know, just took more time.
Yes.
But I'm just like forever grateful for everyone who supported me financially on that.
I'd like to ask a question which many young people ask me, and seeing someone who's as successful as you are, I think there are times when young people think, well, actually, it's because Suzann's really lucky. It's all about luck. Now, personally, I think it's not like winning a lottery ticket. The people I've spoken to who have been successful have different view on whether it's just luck. What's your thoughts on are you lucky and you got all these jobs? What's your thoughts on being lucky?
Oh, I don't know. I worked really hard. You know, even as I'm saying about that, to go to drama school and to sit there in the library with them, if you knew how long that took and how painful that was, and to say that, you know, and then some money came through, if that's luck, I think you make your luck. And a lot of this industry all the way through has been about putting the work in, whether or not that's to do with an audition or applying for, you know, this job as artistic director. It takes a huge amount of work in order to
That's
get
a really good answer. And I think probably other guests we've spoken to have talked about having to be fairly robust because actually there are many rejections. And I think one of the things that creative industries, that the skills and the talents I'm interested in nurturing are things like being self-confident, being able to express yourself, learning from mistakes, and actually thinking outside the box. So those qualities that I think come from creative subjects, I think you have to be fairly robust because there will be knocks and rejections. I'm right, aren't I?
Absolutely. I mean, it's that thing of in acting as well, when we say there's no right and wrong, and you know, and it's that thing of kind of going, yeah, because even if something is wrong or a mistake, or that you do something that doesn't feel quite right, you actually get closer to what is right and what does work. And you know, in times when I was, you know, as an actor, jobs that I've gone for and I've been like, oh please, I really want this job, it's going to change my life, I'm so excited, and then you don't get the job, then sometimes I'll get another job and I'll say, oh my goodness, if I'd got that other job I would have been able to do this one, which is even better. So it's about that, like, how you know, the bounce back, how do you feel really, you know, feel what you're feeling in the moment of something that isn't really working for you, and then how do you push past that onto something that can just be really great and fantastic and even better than what you thought.
That's great. Now, no job's perfect. We all know that. So actually, you've got a very interesting job, and it sounds like you've got a portfolio of things you do. Can you tell us what are some of the best things about your work? And then, because it's realistic to know, what are some of the challenges or less good bits about the job that you do?
The good bits are working collaboratively with lots of different people, and my job is really interesting, and I actually really love people, and I like meeting people and being creative and being able to be in a position where I can actually do something for other people in that creative way. So that's definitely the highs. The more challenging parts are time management, meaning in terms of work-life balance. I think this industry is really all-consuming. It's like you are it all the time, and that can be, yeah, just challenging sometimes in terms of understanding your own personal boundaries, and self-care, really.
I hear time and time again that people talk about there's a group of people who work to earn money to then have their lives, and in creative industries, many people seem to love what they do, and actually maybe doesn't pay as much, but actually it's part of what they do and who they are. That notion of it being part of your life. I've got two more questions for you. One of which is, if you were asked, if one of our viewers said, what personal qualities, in addition to training and tenacity, what personal qualities would you think are really essential to do a job like you do?
Knowing yourself and being okay with that. So, and in that I mean that having your own opinion about things, and being able to stand up for what it is that you believe. Because I just think we're in an industry where there's lots of different opinions, and you know, if you are a performer, you're going to get lots of different people giving opinions of you, and you've got to kind of really find a way of digging deep within yourself and finding out what really works and resonates for you and what feels truthful and honest to you. And was there two things I need to think of?
If you have a second, that'd be great. You don't have to. That's really helpful.
My second thing is remembering that it's fun. And I say that because, you know, most of the time when people go into the creative industries, it's because they really love and enjoy what they're doing, and then it kind of transcends into a job. And I think we have to continually remind ourselves of that fun stuff. I think if it ever becomes something where it feels that it's, you know, less fun or more mechanical,
Yeah.
organically creative, then I think that's when things get a little bit staid and not as enjoyable. So yeah.
Good. And I think I've asked all our guests, if you had a top tip or 2 top tips, what might they be for young people watching this? What top tips might there be?
Top tip number 1 is knowing that you are enough and it's okay. So, you know, I think in this industry, it's almost like we're continually trying to be like somebody else or somebody who's gone before. And actually, in order to navigate, it's really good to have people who inspire you, but you've actually got to understand who you are as an individual, and that whatever you're bringing to that creative table has got, you know, its own strong, unique voice that should be heard. So just like, really having a really good, stronger self.
That's great.
Top tip number 2, acceptance. That'll be my thing. Accept how you feel. So like, I can't tell you how many of my tears are in Oxford Street after a casting that didn't go well, right? You know, I think you're allowed to, and you should accept the fact that it feels horrid, awful, you're upset with yourself and all that sort of stuff. Have that moment and then bounce out of that moment onto something new. But I think sometimes by denying that, that's when things can like bottle up for you, and actually you've just got to just go, do you know what, I'm having a tough day, let me accept it and then let me push through.
They're both excellent. Suzann, thank you so much for talking to us. Hopefully you're going to join us for a panel discussion. But for the moment, huge thank you, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.